we'll get to sedition hunters in a minute, which is hilarious. But I'll let ladies and gentlemen, I apologize ahead of time. I don't. This is Glenn in his hello, I'm Johnny Rash outfit, and my butt is itching. It's itching around the bend, and I can't get my thumb out of my rear end, and I'm stuck in this chair, and Stu is sleeping away. All right, so this is Congressman exposes how Liz Cheney's J6 committee, Liz Cheney's. It's interesting that they are attacking the J6 committee based on Republicans. They're going after the like she started it. It's very weird. Destroyed evidence. And okay. And by the way, what they mean is the videos weren't kept for people who did not were found not to be criminally liable or whatever, or referenced in their case. They threw out the recorded interviews because it's not evidence anymore. It's nobody's business. And they've got transcripts, but they're not required to like keep the footage and all that kind of stuff. So the idea is that they hid it because you would have seen them like winking at the witnesses or some shit, which is just dumb because it was there and they just didn't bother to watch it. You didn't scour the shit beforehand? They threw it out because these people weren't related to any of the case they ultimately made.
We have Barry Matt Loudermilk on with us.
Barry Matt Loudermilk. Barry Matt Loudermilk over the hill and find it one day on the sunshine. Barry Matt Loudermilk quiet as well and smells it in sunshine.
Barry is a congressman from the great state of Georgia. He is on the House Administration sub.
Yeah, there's music playing in the background that is totally inappropriate to your lifestyle. I take offense.
Committee on Oversight that is currently working to clean up the mess of Liz Cheney and her.
Oh, clean that mess up. And you're doing a great job, by the way. You know how the Republicans are directly responsible for Alexander Smirnov getting arrested, and if they'd have just left well enough alone, they could have used his 1023 as a smear campaign against Biden, but never actually been called on its bullshit, but they had to keep fucking pushing it. Remember that? Okay, let's, through that lens, let's look at how they are handling, if I can give them that much credit, the Jan 6 situation.
January 6th committee. Barry joins us now. Barry, I've got several
Matt Loudermilk. That's what he was accidentally saying, Dr.
things I want to cover with you, but let's start with the Liz Cheney thing.
Yeah, let's start. We're not going to stop there.
You told me on the phone once
that you were wearing just your underpants and a T-shirt, and I didn't believe you.
And I read it in your report that they were.
Nah, I'm going to guess he just told you it was in his report, and you just took it that it was in the report, and you didn't read the report. I'm going to guess he didn't read the report. I think maybe he got somebody in his staff to read this report and give him a breakdown, or even ran it through ChatGPT.
Were informed that they had to turn over all of the records, all of the testimony, and
which they did. They just didn't turn over some of the videos because they had erased them, but the transcripts were there.
And they didn't. In fact,
they didn't keep the videos past the point they needed.
In fact, they tried to delete it. Then they said they didn't know about any other files. Then when you found the files, they were locked, and they said, oh, we don't know anything about a password.
Which they didn't.
That's correct.
Because that was their tech. And the tech is the guy who gave you ultimately gave you the password or allowed you to open it.
And you're right, Glenn.
I mean, has that happened before? I mean,
yeah, early 1970s. Yeah, a lot of digital password issues back then.
Is this normal when you switch?
No, it is not normal, and there are clear.
Yeah, but it's not normal that the party that was engaged in January 6th takes over the House and starts trying to reframe it and make their people the good guys.
Clear rules in the House of Representatives of what should be preserved, what has to be preserved, and what you don't have to preserve.
Yeah, I would go with strawberries, boysenberries, raspberries, blueberries, grape. But I don't need lemon preserves, really. I mean, it's nice sometimes, but it's just a little too bitter. And except when you're, I guess in France it works. I'll give it that.
Say there was you interviewed somebody that was totally irrelevant. They had nothing to say.
Right, and therefore we have no right to maintain a recording of them that could be misused or taken out of context later. That's part of the agreement that you have.
And you're just like, whoops, we should have never even talked to you. That's something you probably don't have to preserve.
Right.
Especially if you didn't use their testimony.
Right.
But anything that's relevant or exculpatory.
Exculpatory. That's adorable. Oh yeah, you mean all the videos of those people while they're beating police officers on the steps, going, "I'm in for Donald Trump, and I helped build the gallows, and these people get what's coming to them, and we're gonna hang Mike Pence." Psych! And they're probably gonna cut the psych off, aren't they? Okay, everybody get up. This is great. Oh God, I love AI video.
Then, or even, let's say, the transcript or the videos of your interviews are something you definitely have to keep. And we know for a fact, because they admitted, they discarded the thousands of videos because every person they interviewed, they videotaped. And this is extremely important. And of all
why
the information that they didn't keep or they hid or they deleted, these are the most critical.
Why? You have the transcript.
And they totally got rid of all of those videotapes and admitted that they did, because they said, hey, you've got the...
Well, maybe they... Videotapes? Really? They lost the videotapes? Maybe it wasn't their fault. Maybe somebody walked through the room with a fucking giant magnet. Videotapes. You mean the video files?
You've got the written transcripts of these. Well, first of all, we didn't have all the written transcripts. They sent some to the White House, some to Homeland Security, which we're still working on getting. And
you mean the ones with like Secret Service and other people like that?
There were some documents, and we still don't know what those are, that they deleted from the hard drives. They told us they were giving us 4.5 terabytes of digital data. We got less than 3 terabytes. That's why we.
Aw, that's weird, because like the laptop that was supposedly Hunter Biden's that allegedly had all the files on it had a max 256 gig hard drive on it, and somehow magically the hard drive you guys were passing around has 416 gigs worth of shit on it. I find that odd.
That's why we hired a forensics team to look at these hard drives. Maybe there's something corrupt. Maybe there's something missing. And that's where they recovered these password encrypted documents that have been deleted.
So, Barry,
you're right. When I asked the chairman, he says, I don't even know what you're talking about, much less know the password.
So, Barry.
Which he did. He didn't know what you're talking about. The whole thing was all of it's password encrypted. It's an investigation. So let's assume everything involved in it is password encrypted or eyes only or part of that particular group. They have the right to see it, right? Should we stop fucking pretending that that there's more to this? When did that happen? Hold on. Check. Did my audio go down or up that time? That's weird. Let me try to boost it. Somebody was saying, can I be a little louder? This should help. Hey. Yeah, I don't think any of the stuff that they, I honestly, he's mainly talking about shit they don't know exists as if it does.
If I did this and I was under investigation.
You wouldn't be under investigation. This is somebody who is doing the investigation. They're not investigating the January 6th committee. They aren't investigating. They're looking at the materials presented by it. And you know what it's resulting in, Glenn? Do you have any fucking idea? Do you have any fucking idea what's happening as a result of these assholes continue to dig deep? More Jan 6ers are going to jail. That's what. That's fucking what. That's what's going on. You want an example? Hey, remember all that shit about nobody had a weapon? You guys remember that, right? There were no guns. There weren't any guns there. How do you do an insurrection without guns? Nobody even had a gun. Nobody had a gun. There was nobody with a gun. Nobody even knew what a gun was. They were all just innocent maggots that, oh, hey, accused Jan 6 rioter charged with firing a gun during the U.S. Capitol attack. This guy who's dressed like cowboy Michael Jackson in this picture. I don't quite know. You've been struck by a smooth maggot. Apparently, he's very friendly with Brent's character Muse. An accused Jan 6 rioter who appears to have twice fired a gun during the 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol was charged Friday, according to reports in court records. John Emmanuel Banuelos was the subject of the NBC News investigation that began 2 years ago when photos and video surfaced of a man with a gun tucked in waistband during the riots. Tucked into his waistband? It just said tucked in waistband. Sure. During the riots, according to reporter Ryan Riley. Last month, Jan 6 rioter Derek Evans, who is now running in a Republican House primary in West Virginia, published previously unseen video that appeared to show that Banuelos actually fired his weapon twice outside the Capitol that day. The report notes, online sedition hunters who have aided the FBI in hundreds of arrests of Capitol rioters and who first sent Banuelos' name to the FBI in February of 2021 quickly surfaced additional footage that, additional footage that confirmed that Banuelos was the man who appeared to have fired the weapon. Banuelos, 39, made his first appearance in federal court in Illinois on Friday. While numerous rioters were armed with guns on Jan 6, none were known to have actually fired their weapons. Banuelos is the first to be charged with doing so. Numerous. You don't say. Jan 6 rioter who charged police while carrying a gun, sentenced to 7 years. Christopher Albert said that instinct took over when he charged at police with a wooden pallet while armed with a concealed weapon. Instinct. How can you, honestly, instinct took over. Anytime, if you're a maggot and you see the cops, it just triggers you. It's like a bull with a red cape. Jan 6 rider who was armed with a concealed weapon has led a mob that overran police on the steps of the Capitol, was sentenced to 7 years in federal prison Wednesday. Christopher Alberts, a Donald Trump supporter from Maryland / Antifa BLM mole, was found guilty on 9 charges in April after he testified that instinct took over when he charged the police with a wooden pallet during the Capitol attack, was sentenced by U.S. District Judge Christopher Cooper. Alberts, who told the jurors he felt like it was a fraudulent election, was one of just a handful of rioters who was actually arrested on January 6, 2021. Had he not been taken into custody that day, federal investigators might never have realized he had a gun during the Capitol attack. That's the other thing. A bunch of these motherfuckers walked, and they didn't know they had a gun on them until you could see pictures of them. Right? The people who were like flashing their guns, those are the ones who are getting arrested for it now. But a bunch of them fucking had guns. Let's see. The total number of guns in the mob that day will never be known, but other defendants have admitted they were armed, including Mark Mazza, who was carrying 2 firearms and received 5 years in federal prison when he was sentenced last year. Guy Reffitt, a Jan 6 rider who was charged up the stairs alongside Alberts. Yeah, they were both armed and together. Was the first Capitol rioter to go to trial, also had a gun. He was sentenced to more than 7 years in federal prison. There's Christopher Alberts. There he is. And that's just a guy, look, that guy is dressed like anybody who would just go to a Trump rally. Wouldn't you think? Doesn't that look like you're wearing a gas mask, you've got a backpack, you have a gun, you're wearing like camo American flag patches and shit like that? Well, thanks for becoming a member. I appreciate that. I just saw that zip by. James, thank you so much. All right. Yeah, all in their maggot glory. Prosecutors who had sought 10 years in federal prison for Alberts, saying charging the police at line with an armed gun and wearing metal-plated body armor and a gas mask deserved a significant sentence. For hours and often just steps from the Capitol building, Alberts screamed at police officers that they were domestic terrorists and were treasonous communist motherfuckers who were improperly stopping the rioters from doing what's right. Prosecutors wrote, he exclaimed that he and the other rioters were there to do what we are constitutionally allowed to do, and that they had a right and a duty to overthrow the government of the United States and install a new government. Since January 6th, this is him going to court with his fucking American flag tie. Yeah. He expressed no remorse for his crimes, instead seeking praise for being a hero and protector during his assault in the Capitol while slandering the police officer who valiantly struggled that day. Yeah, he's a douchebag. Prosecutors also pointed out that Albert urinated on a wall of the Capitol while yelling, "Fuck DC Metro." as in fuck the police, I guess. And later threw a bottle of police at the police line. He was arrested after nightfall when a police officer noticed a bulge on his hip that he recognized to be a weapon. Through its sentence, the court must send an unambiguous message to Alberts that the military service did not justify his betrayal of the United States on January 6th. Yeah. So this dipshit, he was there, and then this other guy fired a gun. That guy shot his gun. They were, he was hanging with this dude. Yeah. But nobody had a weapon, right? And by the way, I guarantee that after I have just shown you this shit, sometime in the future, from, this day, the 19th of March in the year of our Lord 20 and 24, this motherfucker will tell you at random in an upcoming clip at some point that there were no guns at the Capitol. He might even go so far as say there were no weapons there, or he'll back off and go, the only weapons were there was the batons they took from some people took from police, and they were probably Antifa or some shit. Never mind the fact that these are straight up maggots who want credit for being maggots, who carried guns and went in pairs in flak vests and fucking, wear gas masks. They were prepped for this fucking day. And this asshole will tell everybody that watches his show, guarantee, he will tell people that there were no guns at the Capitol that day.
And I did this. I would immediately go to jail. Obstruction of justice.
Correct.
No, you wouldn't.
I would go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
No, well, because you would be you wouldn't be an elected officer of the government, and you would not have right to that stuff in the first place. You go to jail like the lady in Michigan who stole the Dominion emails.
All of us would. But nobody in Congress ever seems to worry about that. There doesn't seem to be any...
Yeah, it's weird that Matt Gaetz doesn't worry about going to jail. Well, actually, he does now that I think
anything that
now
sends anyone to jail. Why?
Well, we're going to see what is available. One argument is the speech and debate clause.
There you go. One argument is the speech and debate clause. What's responsible for us to keep and what's necessary for us to keep are two different things. And keeping the videotape of innocent people that ended up not being part of our investigation doesn't make any sense. But the record of what we said while we talked to them, that's worth keeping. So we don't have to keep it so that it can be shared out and people can attack these people, especially in a hyper-partisan situation, and put fucking targets on these people's backs. There's no reason to keep it. P.S. Asshole.
But that is to protect you from lawsuits or legal action for what you do in the course of your business being a legislator. I've already been threatened with being subpoenaed or sued just for revealing the truth. But
oh, yeah? What truth would that be?
I'm protected under the speech and debate clause because we have a real legislative purpose.
Oh, so if you're not protected by it, then they wouldn't be protected by it. So if they can go to jail for it, you could go to jail for it. And so Glenn, in asking, why don't we see people in Congress go to jail? You're like, well, I'd be the first one to go to jail if it wasn't for the speech and debate clause. So shut the fuck up. Is that
what we're doing?
Correct. The Congress and the Senate and the president need protection as they are pursuing their job. So if you want to make a claim on the floor, you can make a claim and nobody can sue you, et cetera, et cetera. But we're not talking about that. We are talking about the willful destruction of things the people of the United States paid for. We paid.
Oh, you mean like all the military gear in Afghanistan that we shredded that Donald Trump claims we gave to the Taliban, or that our soldiers surrendered to the Taliban? You mean that stuff that was chewed up for fucking scrap metal? That the scrap dealers in Afghanistan who'd made a killing over the years off of the stuff that the United States would destroy were upset that we were shredding it too much, and they couldn't even sell it for parts because we were literally destroying the stuff down to its kind of metal base, and there was just nothing salvageable about any of it. You mean the American people paid for all that gear and we destroyed it so it wouldn't fall into the hands of the Taliban? So you're upset about that?
Millions of dollars. And if they don't classify things to keep us away from it and to keep many of you guys who have oversight away from it, then they just seem to destroy it. That can't stand.
They just seem to destroy it? Okay. The House leadership in this situation is equal to the other people. They're not above them. You don't just get constant do-overs on the other side's committees. If you think the Jan 6ers in their interviews didn't release enough information, you need to take a fucking line and take a number and get in fucking line behind the release of all the Jan 6 video, which every time they do, more maggots go to jail. Like, there's a reason why Republicans are always the one trying to put the brakes on that shit. Occasionally, Democrats are like, watch what you release because it shows where the safety zones are in case we're attacked. And Homeland Security doesn't want everybody, doesn't want a schematic of all the escape routes so that any foreign power could figure out how to kill us all. That would be nice if we set that, that footage aside. But the rest of it, fucking show it. Half these assholes filmed themselves on Facebook while they were doing it.
It cannot. And this is kind of treading new territory. I don't know that anything to this level, I shouldn't say hasn't happened before, but never been exposed. And so there's so much.
No, there's never been a situation where the Capitol was attacked and the motherfuckers were being filmed by cameras inside the place. At the same time, they filmed themselves. It's a one-off. And guess what, motherfucker? It's not going to happen again.
Much more investigation that we're doing. I don't want to really opine on what could happen in
yeah, because you don't want to end up like Comer.
the future, because we may uncover a whole lot more that even adds on to just how obstructive.
Yeah, I mean, obviously what we're talking about ain't shit. But, I mean, if we keep looking, we're probably going to get some Jan 6ers thrown in jail for like 20 plus years. But, at least we can pretend that we're continuing to look, and therefore what we're going to find isn't more Jan 6ers that will go to jail, but, how Democrats created the whole thing. And our followers wouldn't have done it if the FBI hadn't dressed up like maggots and hypnotized us.
That they really were. And you also have the issue of, you have most of the members of that committee are still in Congress, but you do have Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger and some others that are not. They're not currently protected by some of those same things.
Yeah, they are, because they're protected by it while they were there. They're not continuing to release shit.
But it also gives us the ability of those that are in Congress. We do have certain actions that can be taken.
Yeah, here's a good idea, dumb fuck. Subpoena her and Adam Kinzinger. Two people who are great at like taking a giant shit on all of your arguments and are known as fucking Republicans. What are you doing? Do you really want these motherfuckers to sit down and like, hey, you know what I'm going to do when I'm sitting there? Liz, I don't know what you're going to do, but I'm going to sit there and just list a bunch of people that had guns. Every time they ask me a question, I'm going to tell them how without our committee, we wouldn't have known that this person had guns and this person had guns and this other person had guns and this other guy had a truck full of guns and he died in his fucking truck of a speed overdose. Otherwise, those guns would have actually gotten to the Capitol because the dude juiced himself before he was going to go and had a fucking heart attack.
Within the body. So there's a lot of questions there. And what I've told our team is let's just keep digging. Let's keep it.
Yeah, keep digging. We'll find something. And when we find something and it turns out to be another maggot that should go to jail, we'll ignore it and get rid of the evidence the way we're accusing them.
Investigate.
There's a bunch of missing information here. Yeah, it's a bunch of fucking maggots that should go to jail.
Let's keep going down the path we're going, because right now we have literally informants coming out of the woodwork. Now,
really? Literally? That's weird. How did they get in the woodwork in the first place? Is it like a chest of drawers, or are they coming out of the paneling on the wall? They're literally coming out of the woodwork? Adorable. Literally coming out of the woodwork. Well, obviously, there's no wood in sight in this area, so obviously none of them are going to show up magically in the Glenn Beck studio. Maybe in his dipshit little child's playroom that he does.
Now that they've seen what we're doing, is we're doing it in an unbiased manner. We're just trying to get to the truth.
Yeah, we're just trying to get to the truth, and we haven't found any yet.
And we even have folks who let's say, would more lean toward Democrats that are coming to us saying,
Good.
I've got information. I don't like Donald Trump, but I hate the injustice that I see being done.
Yeah, I totally believe you. Yeah, I bet you do. I mean, obviously, don't bother. Don't name them either. I trust you. These people who lean Democrats, who don't like Donald Trump, but they hate the injustice. I'm so and I can see how those people who lean Democrat and hate Donald Trump, but hate the injustice. I can see why they wouldn't want to come forward. Because why? What was the injustice? Just vague bullshit. But what would be the part of their statement? What injustice are they talking about?
Right. And this isn't all about Donald Trump. This is about the railroading of American citizens.
Bullshit. Asshole, most of these people who deserve to go to jail went fucking home. Half these assholes had somebody right next to them that was doing the same shit they were, but when they when they stood in front of the fucking judge, they were like, I'm sorry, I lost my mind. It was wrong. I'll never do it again. I don't know what I was thinking. I got caught up in it, but that's not something I would do ever again. And if you put me on probation, nothing like this will ever happen again. I swear to Jesus. And that person went home. And the person that was standing right next to him was like, fuck yeah, I'd do it again. Puh, and that person is in jail right now. But these are the hostages he's talking about.
Since like I've never seen before.
Let me guess. You thought like Timothy McVeigh and co were all political prisoners too.
It was Jim Jordan yesterday issued a letter on behalf of our journalist Steve Baker to the United States Attorney Matthew Graves, and
by the way, he's not your reporter. You hired him after he participated in January 6th. He wasn't just there to fucking film it. Get the shit out of here. He wasn't a Blaze reporter that was on the scene on January 6th. You motherfuckers hired that asshole after. And it's either, I guess you guys fucking didn't figure out that they were going to chase down what he did on that fucking day, or you didn't even bother to check. You're just like, he was there. He must have been a hero.
Is demanding all of the documents and communication internal to know why this.
Yeah, and that guy's attorney is going, no.
Guy was treated differently than the New York Times.
One moment, please. Let's see. Let me try to get this break. I got to break this window out. Get out of here. There you go. FBI detains reporter for Jan 6 coverage. The FBI arrested Steve Baker, a journalist with Blaze Media. Now, he was not a journalist with Blaze Media at the time, who reported on January 6th Capitol riot, putting him in handcuffs for a perp walk despite him turning himself in. Baker faces 4 misdemeanor charges related to his reporting on the Capitol that day. Also, I call bullshit because it wasn't based on his reporting. Baker and Blaze CEO Glenn Beck believe this is an attempt to humiliation. Why? And that the government is cracking down on independent journalists. Why? There were a bunch of people who were there who didn't get arrested. Why him? Charges reference videos where Baker expressed approval of the riot and said he regretted not stealing computers from Nancy Pelosi's office. My attorneys have also been assured by the government this will be an in and out affair, and they have no intention of detaining me, but rather than issuing a simple order to appear, they seem to feel the need to give me a dose of personal humiliation treatment. When the United States government can come after individuals who were in the Capitol that day filming it and were acting more like participants than observers, the minute you start saying shit like that on camera, his report has since questioned police accounts of events. They got Pelosi's office, and it couldn't happen to a more deserving bitch, I'm guessing, Baker said. Look out your window, fucker. Look what's coming, the documents read. Baker said he was quite excited to see what was going on. Do I approve of what happened today. I approve 100%. Yeah, you're a propagandist for Jan 6. You're not a reporter. You were filming yourself as part of it. I got news for you. There were military people and cops that were there, but they were not there in a military and police capacity, and they didn't get to use it as an excuse. There was one guy who had a gun who said, I had a gun on me because I was DEA. Like, nope, motherfucker. You don't get to do shit like that and participate in that kind of shit carrying your service gun, which I'm not even sure if it was. I think it might have been his own personal gun, not even a service gun. You swap out to your personal gun and go to this shit. Get out of here. Should get the good liars on as guests. Their Jan 6 story is wild. I would love to. Would love to have the good liars on. That'd be great. Yeah, no. Steve Baker participated in this shit. He wasn't just a reporter. Fuck off with that. And again, he wasn't hired as a reporter for The Blaze until after.
Are we going to find anything on this? Is this...
Yes, you're going to find out that more details like this. His internal documents, his own emails, the discovery they used to make the case against him is actually going to be... was that Ashley Babbitt armed with a knife? Yes, she was. Ashley Babbitt had a knife in her bag. They're just gonna, this is the same shit that's happening to the other Jan 6ers. These motherfuckers are gonna dig until they make sure this asshole goes to jail for 5 years. And his own people are like, just fucking call me a reporter and then shut the fuck up. Don't ask for more information.
Nobody believes that any of this is going to change a darn thing, which is frightening.
Yeah, it will. I got news for you. That motherfucker isn't going to charge up the steps of a Capitol anytime soon, especially if he goes to jail, but even if he just gets probation. He's also going to, if he embeds himself along with some of this shit in the future, is not going to cheer it on as a propagandist for it.
But honestly.
Well, I can anticipate what the FBI is going to say, and I've got some
yeah, you don't have to. It's in their report.
Personal theories about this, but they're going to say this is an active investigation, so we can't provide you anything.
Of course.
Which is potentially.
Fuck you. First of all, they do make statements about stuff, about active investigations as far as the case so far. But they don't, when they go in front of the House and whatnot, and they're doing oversight, they're not going to admit some of it in an open committee hearing. But other things they will. They're not going to use sources and methods and show how they do stuff. And the Republicans are going to try to get to the bottom of that because they're trying to protect a bunch of these maggots, these Jan 6ers. They're trying to get here's what you do if you need to run interference. This is what they're doing. So don't use WhatsApp or fucking Signal anymore. Use this. That's what they're going to do.
Let me just say this. Potentially, one of the reasons that they've done this is
that he said Nancy Pelosi deserved it. He wished he'd stolen shit while he was in there. He filmed out the window saying he 100% agrees with what's going on, and he supported it. He was actually there to basically catalog the day for the winning side, not be a reporter.
So
but they lost, so now he's in deep shit.
Information that he was working on can't be subpoenaed or...
Sure it can. Yeah, it can. You're a propagandist for an insurrection. You weren't a fucking reporter, dum-dum. That's why you watch what you say and how you frame questions, why it matters.
That won't be provided to Congress. That's one theory of why they've gone after him and not the others, because he was onto something. Look, my dad, a World War II veteran, used to tell me all the time, you took the most incoming fire when you were over the target.
Correct.
So
yeah. First of all, tell that to the people of, I guess, Pearl Harbor. Did that mean they were right? You're saying the Japanese were right to hit Pearl Harbor? Maybe if the target was participating in creating a positive spin on and a story of how Jan 6 played out, and you were there as a propagandist, you're the same as the Japanese during Pearl Harbor, right? So of course you're going to catch fire while you're over the target. The problem is your target was civilian.
Fact that this has been done to Steve Baker, is a red flag to me. Is he's onto something?
Yeah.
No, it isn't. It might be on something. It might have been on fucking meth that day, like the rest of these dumbasses. No. He filmed himself being a participant in it. He was a cheerleader for it. He wasn't there as a journalist just filming it for posterity. There were plenty of fucking people there, by the way, with their phones out who were filming shit. There were plenty of people there with cameras. They're not being arrested because none of them said, "This is awesome. We should steal more shit."
And I know one of the things he's working on. I believe you do too, and that has to be sewn up. If it's false, then it's false and shouldn't be spoken of. But if it's true,
no. If it's false, you need to fucking tell us what you were looking at. I don't know what the fuck these guys working on, but in that particular instance, the way they're talking about it is like, if we're digging up some shit on somebody, and if it turns out to be bullshit, we should never mention it again. But if it turns out to be right, well, we'll use it. No, how about you admit that you dug around and found fucking nothing?
It's one of the worst things. I think it's regime changing, and I use the word regime intentionally.
Yeah, because you're an asshole. That's how an asshole speaks of an administration that was duly elected. By the way, he also defends Putin, whose election was totally fair.
And I agree with you on that. And
really, what is it? Why you don't have a teaser for it? You don't have a title? You're not gonna? He's working on it, and suddenly maybe they arrested him to interrupt the process because they know what he's going after.
People don't go to these extreme measures to cover up something that isn't real.
Yes.
I mean,
what? Did it ever occur to you they're actually arresting him for what he fucking did? How about this? How about assholes like you and Loudermilk don't create bullshit like victimization stories around this kind of stuff unless you're trying to cover for the fact that you hired a dude who participated in Jan 6, and by his own insistence on being there, the fact that he was there and you fucking hired him, and he's on video saying, "I'm behind this, I'm for this 100%, I support this 100%," proves it was not a fucking Antifa, BLM, FBI secret ploy. Who the fuck told him to go into Nancy Pelosi's office and say, "I should have stole more," and look out the window at charging hordes and go, I support this 100%, you dumb motherfucker? Because his very existence, the very things you're defending him for, prove that Jan 6 was a maggot attack on democracy. Game, set, fucking match. The fact that you're defending him also means you're defending a maggot attack on democracy. Not, "Oh my God, he was there. He got sucked up in it because an FBI guy whispered in his ear and he just, he heard his programming from the Manchurian Project and had to run up the fucking steps and say things he truly did not believe in the face of this horrible, horrible thing that Antifa started and pushed." The fuck out of here. The fuck out of here. No. His existence on that day means the whole FBI narrative, the whole "they drove us to do it" narrative is bullshit. And the fact that you hired him and what he said on that day means you support what he said on that day. Fuck you, Glenn Beck.
There's got to be
you cop-hating, soldier-hating son of a bitch.
They're there or they're not going to.
Other than that, I have no opinion, by the way. I know some people thought I'm a little, Hal, why be so namby-pamby about it? Why aren't you pushing a little harder? And then to that I say, touche. And to Glenn and Stu, I say, douche.
Go to this level.
Tell me, let me switch subjects again.
Right, because if you stay on this one, it will become even more abundantly clear that you're full of shit.
This bill is going through Congress today. And Stu and I look at it, I think, the same way. We're for free speech. And
Oh, fuck. Oh, okay. So this is about the TikTok bill. This is where these motherfuckers don't know how to land on this. We're for free speech. Well, then fine. Speech will find a way. Be like water, my friend. If it goes into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. If it goes into a cup, it becomes the cup. Be like water, my friend. Speech is the same way. You think if TikTok goes away, people won't have free speech, motherfuckers? It's like, Jesus Christ, hold on. I want to do this without annoying anyone. shit, I'm gonna have to give it a number. Hold on. I'm gonna have to ask my research assistant over at the chat and the G and the P and the T. Hold on. Because this has come up a couple of times. There we go. How many active social media platforms are there with more than 1 million users? That's a decent, right? Right? Pretty. It's challenging because the landscape of social media. However, from that information, major platforms which have 1 billion users. Douyin, TikTok, Snapchat has both user bias. Douyin have 752 million. Platforms basis sources Statista, biggest social media platforms. Given these figures, it's clear that there are numerous social media platforms with user bases well over 1 million. The precise count of such platforms require a comprehensive update database of social media networks, including smaller niche platforms. Well, here you go. Well, let's go right into here. Get our lovely folks over at. Oh, get out of here! Why are you doing this for to me? This guy. 23 top social media sites to consider your brand. It's what it's for. Facebook, WhatsApp, YouTube, Instagram, WeChat, TikTok, Telegram, Snapchat, Kuaishou, Weibo. I love how 3 of them are Chinese and you can't have a fucking QQ. Same shit. QQ. All those are Chinese and don't go anywhere near them. X, Pinterest, Reddit, LinkedIn, Quora, Discord. Hey, we have a Discord. If you join our Patreon, you get access to our private Discord for just those folks, so you can have conversations amongst yourself and not have to worry about marauders. Threads, yeah, there it is. Tumblr is still around. Mastodon, which has got 1.7, and Mastodon has, like, you can make your own under that. Blue Sky, which has an unknown number of people in it. These are just the major ones it's recommending. This isn't even just like, look on your fucking phone sometime in the App Store at like, let's see, social media platforms. Is the 15 best? Let's see. You know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to go with, I'm going to see if it does this. Okay, here you go. Later. WeChat, let's see. Allow. How many social media websites are there with 1 million subscribers or less? So he's looking. I don't know if it'll be to find out, because it'll be an abstract in this. Turn the exact number of social media websites. Yeah, okay.
Determining the exact number of social media websites with 1 million subscribers or less is quite challenging, as the landscape is vast and constantly changing. However, it's safe to say that there are numerous smaller platforms and niche networks that cater to specific interests or demographics. These platforms may not have the massive user base of giants like Facebook or Instagram, but they offer more targeted communities and specialized content. If you're interested in exploring these smaller networks, they can often be found through web searches or by looking at social media statistics and trend reports.
Can you give me an example of a niche social media platform? Let's see if she reads it back to me. This is Copilot, by the way, talking to me. Behance, right, is one of them.
Certainly. One example of a niche social media platform is Behance. It's a vertical social network specifically designed for creative professionals like graphic artists and web designers. Owned by Adobe, Behance allows members to showcase their portfolios, connect with other creatives, and discover job opportunities. It's a great platform for those starting out in the creative field or looking to network within the industry. Another example is Letterboxd, a social network for film enthusiasts where users can track movies they've watched, rate them, create lists, and connect with other movie lovers. These platforms offer unique communities focused on specific...
That's fine. Thank you. So That's me talking to Copilot. Is that very? Sorry, I turned it down. Sorry if it was loud, but it's on another browser setup. So if I'm gonna have her as a regular talking person on the show, that's fun. That's super weird. By the way, can I just say I asked those questions verbally and they answered them, and AI answered it. You fucking hate Copilot, Mark? Oh, I know. It's getting better. There's some stuff that's worthwhile to it. It's not the best, but it's worthwhile in some of these situations. But yeah, like there's dozens of fucking sites. If you dropped off TikTok, listen to me. TikTok, you could move someplace else. You could move over to Skittles.com. I don't know.
Don't like regulating anybody.
No.
However, these guys are intentionally taking us down. However, is this a Trojan horse that can be used against people like us down the road?
No. Unless, actually, I take it back. Yes, because you're clearly working for the Chinese government, Glenn. How about that? No one talks up the power, prestige, and strength of China the way Glenn Beck does. He does it so much, I think Putin's getting jealous because he kisses his ass and gargles his balls at the same time, too.
I'm in the same position as you guys. I think there's
split and undecisive. Great. That's leadership for you.
Something that needs to be done with TikTok, because what people need to understand is this application is owned and operated by the Chinese Communist Party.
Look how like Glenn's trying to help him say Chinese Communist Party. I'm sorry, the Republican Party these days needs training wheels to say Chinese Communist Party. Fuck is wrong with you?
For one thing, and it's to disrupt the Americans, our culture.
Social cohesion, dumb fuck. Good Lord.
To influence the culture, but more importantly is to
divide us.
Spy on America. Exactly. Yeah. Divide us and get information. Look, some of the people who are defending TikTok are already upset about the amount of data big tech is taking from American citizens every day without their knowledge. And in my estimation, unconstitutionally and illegally. But yeah.
Okay. No. You can give as much information about yourself to anyone as you want. Under the Constitution, that is your right as an American. The government does not have the right to step in between you. If you want to spill your fucking guts, stand up on a stage at a fucking karaoke show, and instead of singing your song, just blather bullshit and yell your PIN number and all that stuff. No one can stop you. It's stupid, but no one will get in between you. The same thing is true of social media sites. If you want to give them access to all your shit, tell it all your deepest, darkest secrets, and present all this information that you don't trust them with because you have to, right? To get on the site, and you're that dumb and you would use that site, then you're an idiot. But it's not illegal, and it's certainly not unconstitutional. It would be unconstitutional to stop you if you wanted to.
They're defending TikTok, who's doing the same thing, and it's going to an enemy of the United States.
I know.
So we have to be very careful.
I know. But, TikTok makes the Blaze a lot of money. So torn.
Because
I'm not on TikTok, by the way. For this very reason. TikTok is malware. It listens when it's not supposed to be listening. It has access to all your shit, and it can get to any other app in your phone. And it has had that power for a long time. And they wantonly share every detail about you, and you have to allow that to have it on your phone. I don't use it. I'm not going to use it for that very fucking reason. Period. And I don't encourage people to use it by having an account, because people are like, well, you could make so much money on TikTok. Yeah, by dragging my supporters there or trying to build up a presence there and keeping people there. You can't hear me? Why would you not be able? I can see audio going out. Maybe reload your page. What's the purpose of Stu? Oh, it keeps the desk from tilting the other way because this chair weighs 9,000 pounds.
Don't trust the government. I know that we will take any law to the extreme and try to use it. So I think it's.
No, you won't. No, you fucking won't. If you could take any law to the extreme, no one in that room would be alive right now, dum-dum. They'd all be in jail. If you, we don't go by the letter. Fucking Trump would be in prison a year and a half ago. This fucking, hand-wringing bullshit, paranoid crap about the U.S. government, especially while you're a serving member of the House, shut the fuck up. These assholes act like they're in the Gulag Archipelago or whatever the fuck it is. Like, isn't that where that's the Gulag that has Komodo dragons, right?
It's important to
At the Gulag Mar-a-Lago.
take the step, and I think under this legislation, which forces the divestiture of TikTok,
The sale of it
from the Chinese Communist Party. And look, I want to protect Glenn Beck and the Blaze and every other, even the liberal media.
I would say the same about the Daily Beast, which I despise.
Exactly. But I don't think that we have to provide that same level of protection to the Chinese Communist Party.
What complex times we live in.
It's not complex at all, dumb fuck. You create a law that a government-owned social media site cannot be used within the United States. There's nothing unconstitutional or wrong with that. And if it is, it has to be listed as such, as in the Chinese Communist Party's TikTok on its advertising, so people know what they're getting into. And if they want to be stupid motherfuckers and make money for the Chinese military and the Chinese government itself by dicking around on that website when they've got a myriad of others, Snapchat, Facebook Reels, like fucking Twitch, you can do shorts on there now, almost, kind of. And then, of course, X, whatever. Thank you, Capital City Pyro. Please, please, please do a video on the Trump team videos, shamelessly asking for donations, $1 to $5. I send a link to them to CSL so we can find them. I will gladly do that. I don't know that I've seen them in our feed, so yeah, absolutely.
No,
It is. It is.
It's not complex. It is not complex. Again, there's all this bullshit the Republicans go into about the Chinese government is buying land in America near our military bases and they're buying farmland. Okay, no, they are not. They have private companies that are set up that are not owned by the Chinese government, even though the Chinese government basically controls all of these, and they might be puppets, but they have to at least jump through the legal hoops of not being a government thing. No government, except for like embassies, can purchase land. And even that's a lease. You can't buy fucking land if you're a foreign government in the United States. It doesn't fucking work that way. Private citizens from other countries can buy property here, but they have to own it and pay taxes on it and all that kind of shit like everybody else. And, and they don't get to put anything official on top of it. But if a government does it, it's illegal. And so that's why the Chinese government has been doing it through like LLCs and, kind of private real estate companies and shit like that. Okay? Thanks, Water Goddess. I try. I can't keep up with all of it, but believe me, it all enters into my brain. That's why occasionally you'll see me when I'm talking, the chat, I will repeat things that are in the chat occasionally, like a word or something accidentally while I'm talking. It's because I'm literally reading as I speak, which is a talent, I got to admit. But this bullshit about, like, it's complicated. It's not. If you want to use a social media company in the United States, it can't be owned by your government. We're not, or it has to be listed as such. That would be the other option. Openly marked as such.
It definitely.
You just want to make money on TikTok, you dumb motherfucker. That's what this is about.
It really is.
Okay.
And one of the reasons.
No, not okay, motherfucker. This is the point where you do what I did, Glenn. This is the point where in your show you go, that's why we're not on TikTok. Stu's not on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. We don't let any of the people who work at the Blaze be on TikTok because it's a policy of the network because we believe this. Fucking say it. Say it. But you're not, because you can make money off of it. So fuck you. I don't want to hear any shit about Joe Biden, the man who's directly put more sanctions on the Chinese government than any president in fucking history. Has set their economy and their technological theft, their advancement / theft back to pre-Nixon fucking levels. I don't want to hear you shit talking him while you assholes are still on there. And you refuse to call it out. Doesn't make any sense. Yeah, Glenn Beck, the globalist.
Glenn, that we're going to such efforts to expose the truth is because we have never before in American history has there been this much distrust of America.
Yeah, asshole. Congratulations. Ask the, well, I guess your mouth is full, but ask the dude whose balls are gargling all the time, Donald Trump, who's talking about how the country's shit, it's garbage, it's hell, it's on the brink of the tubes of the center of the middle of the pit of hell and on the verge of shitty hell all the time, and our cities suck and nothing works and everything's bad. And then you go by the number of like the Republican Party's like 45% of the electorate. They used to be maybe 51%. Now they're 45. So 45 is a huge number of people who don't trust the government anymore. And then you got half of Democrats who are like, I don't trust it when that asshole's in charge, or I don't trust it because the Republicans are in charge right now and what the bullshit that they're doing in terms of the, stopping the border bill and other shit like that. So I don't trust them in that regard. Doesn't mean I don't trust the system that exists. I don't trust some of the people who are in charge of it. And I don't trust the tack the Republican Party is on to do what's right.
Our own government, of the people in the government. And I think
including you, fuckwad. You work in the government. Fucking Marjorie Taylor Greene's like, people have never been this horrified at our government. Like, yeah, asshole, since you showed up, take a fucking hint.
As bad as we are, we're still the best it's ever been. And there's nothing we're going through we haven't been through before in this country and overcome. We got to get our eyes back on our cause.
Yeah, sorry, you don't get to usurp fucking Biden's message all of a sudden.
Liberty and justice, things that our founders, have envisioned for this country. We have to have a healthy
okay, for the record, our founders wrote the Second Amendment and didn't know what the fuck a ghost gun was, much less a fucking like one of those automatic trigger modifications you can put on a Glock.
Trust for our government. That's what keeps us free. But the people also have to know that there are still people here that want you to know the truth of what happened, because if we don't know the truth, we won't stop the same thing from repeating itself.
What do you mean, Asshole, he just said he hasn't figured out anything. We're going to keep looking. They haven't found any fucking thing. And the only thing they have found resulted in one of their own going to jail for longer.
When you look at this thing that Liz Cheney did, it isn't just the false information they put out, but when you look at like Cassidy Hutchins' testimony, that they took hers, hook, line, and sinker, without even questioning it. 2 months later, they interview the driver of the SUV, who was supposedly the one that Trump tried to take the steering wheel from.
Right.
They didn't even ask him about that event when they interviewed him. You would think of anybody that would ask that. He had to.
Okay, first of all, hers was secondhand knowledge. She admits to it. She heard it from another person. That doesn't mean she didn't say it was there, that she was there. She heard it, what they said. The point wasn't that, like, she lied to Congress, because she didn't. She said what she heard. So there are two things that are possible. She's lying about what they said, those two guys, which they admit they said what she said they said. Or the guys that she was talking about were lying about what happened because they were trying to impress the hot chick in the office. That they fought off Trump and his bullshit, or, oh my God, it was terrible. They turned him screaming at them and insisting they take him to the Capitol into him grabbing him by the shirt collar or some shit. She was repeating hearsay, right?
Interjected himself that never happened.
They also only referenced pipe bomb 5 times in almost 1,000-page report. They're not asking the questions on the pipe bomb. That doesn't make sense.
What? Everybody knows they ran aground on the details that they have. Same thing's true. By the way, footage has come out of the fucking people with the gallows. Hold on. Yeah, here it is. Video shows movement of group suspected of constructing the Jan 6 gallows hours before the Capitol siege. That's the neon orange rope that they hung. People who erected the infamous gallows and noose on the west front of the Capitol 6, January 6th, began their work in the pre-dawn hours that day, according to newly released videos obtained by CBS News, a report by GOP-led House subcommittee, and the perpetrators remain unaccounted for by prosecutors. Surveillance footage shared with CBS News shows the brazenness of the work began with the gallows and noose, which have a history of racist and threatening overtones. Mike Pence, they were going to hang Mike Pence, blah, blah, blah. Pressured former, hang Mike Pence. Videos illustrate how a crew of people roll pieces down the streets. Hold on, we'll see if they have this piece.
Up on the screen now, they want to know why no one has been arrested for unlawful.
Yeah, who the fuck is that? By the way, Donald Trump was president on this day.
Lawful assemblage and construction on Capitol grounds. That's the technical violation here. The footage shows a group of people early on the day of the riots entering Union Square Park, and they are seen hauling lumber. Hours before, former President Trump directly told his supporters to march to the Capitol. He said he would meet them during his rally in Washington.
CBS News congressional correspondent Scott MacFarlane has more from Capitol Hill. Scott, talk to us about exactly what the video reveals.
This is one of those still stubborn mysteries from January 6th. We still don't
Yes, it's the one that drives me fucking crazy.
know who let those pipe bombs on Capitol Hill, and we don't yet have any information about somebody being arrested for the erection of those gallows.
You said erection? Yeah.
That horrifying image on the west front of the U.S. Capitol, the gallows with an orange noose, which is an iconography and an illustration of something that really meant racism and hatred for generations in America.
Okay, yes, but it was also how they used to just hang everybody in the Old West. Stop it. This is not a racist symbol particularly. As a matter of fact, everybody they were directly planning on killing, insofar as I know, was white. Specifically Mike Pence, who was practically luminescent. The motherfucker is so white. He's practically a jellyfish. And Nancy Pelosi. Maybe they were going to go as brown as AOC, but it wasn't set up to be a fucking racist symbol. It was meant to be fucking like Jan 6 cowboy justice, you dumb motherfucker.
We know from the new video obtained by CBS News, some of the construction of this gallows happened brazenly in the early morning hours of January 6, 2021. The movement of the lumber through iconic streets of Washington, D.C., Independence Avenue, onto the lawn of the Capitol grounds happened in plain sight around the 6 a.m. hour. Then, over the course of the morning, some wood was impaneled on the west.
You said wood.
West front of the Capitol. Then around the 1 p.m. hour,
You said wood, dumbass.
the crossbar and the noose were affixed, according to the Congressional Review. But according to the same Congressional Review, Tony and Lilia, there's been nobody identified as a suspect in this, and our CBS News review of 1,300 or so criminal cases associated with January 6th shows.
I got news for you. The more these fuckheads insist on footage being released, the closer we'll get to catching these dumbasses and the pipe bomber. The Republicans think they're going to clear their names by releasing all this Jan 6 footage. They're not. What they're going to do is result in more and more horrifying stories coming out about what actually happened on that day, and that more maggots were involved in more horrifying ways than even have been reported, including the asshole who fired his gun twice at the Capitol into the air, other guys who were armed when they were saying that nobody was armed, nobody had a gun, there were no guns, you can't have an insurrection if you don't have any guns. They had guns all over the place, and we're going to find out who the fuck these guys are, and ladies who did it, because it looked like a mixed group to me. We're going to find out who they are specifically because Republicans are calling for the release of the footage.
None of the named defendants being linked to this. So 3 years and 2 months later, this remains a transcendent and troubling mystery for all involved.
Yeah, and again, I'm curious as to what they would be charged with, the people who built the gallows. I would argue terroristic threats. And in theory, they could be charged with attempted murder. Because if you bring a weapon to the scene of someplace where you believe that weapon will be used, a gallows qualifies. So there's a good reason for these fuckers to like stay hidden as long as fucking possible. Stop saying that. Can I get a beer? They brought wood for their erection. So yeah, these guys are in deep shit if they ever get found out, because it'll be, they were engaged in a murder plot.
5 times, but they mentioned Donald Trump 1,900 times.
Yeah, because it was his fucking riot.
1,900 times, and the president.
Also, how many times do I have to mention the fucking bomb? It happened. There were 2 of them. The FBI's looking into it. It was the day before the 6th. It was the January 6th committee, not the days preceding January 6th, and also on January 6th, and also shortly thereafter, and anything tangentially related to January 6th. Find a direct linkage to those things and January 6th, and that will explain it. I think they were tangentially related, but we don't have proof because we don't have the person.
The United States was not even part of their tasking from the resolution that established the committee. The security failure at the Capitol was, and they didn't hardly address that whatsoever. This was.
Yeah, that's true. Thanks. Good, excellent defense of Donald Trump. So everybody at the Capitol should have known if Donald Trump was having a rally nearby, there would be a riot because he's a violent prick. How could Nancy Pelosi not know that Donald Trump was going to set his fucking hordes loose on the Capitol that day? I mean, it's obvious after it happened.
It's designed from the beginning to legislatively prosecute Trump and to push a false narrative. You can see it all the way through.
Oh, TOH Live, thanks for gifting the subs, by the way. And Professor Funbags, thanks for the bits.
From the documents that they tried to keep from the American people, which is any exculpatory information that they.
What exculpatory information? There isn't any. What's the exculpatory? The contents of the FBI whispers? Jesus Christ. Asshole, the more you look, the more damning evidence you're going to find. What could be exculpatory about the attack on the Capitol? If 35 people out of the 3,000 that attacked go, I thought this was the last thing Donald Trump would want me to do, but I felt it was necessary. Who gives a fuck?
Suppressed documents that they deleted, and the questions they didn't ask people that they were afraid would contradict other information they got that they liked.
Like, for example, what?
That is not a real investigation. That is just cherry picking, trying to find whatever will support your predetermined narrative. That's not the way our system is designed here.
That's exactly what your system is doing.
In the United States.
That's exactly what you're looking for. You're going on an exculpatory evidence fishing expedition.
So our job is just to put the truth out there to the American people and let them.
Okay. Yeah, keep doing it because you're getting maggots thrown in jail, dumb fuck.
Them decide.
Thank you.
You know what?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for your service, Barry Loudermilk.
Really happened.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you for getting more maggots thrown in jail for longer.
Barry Loudermilk. He is from the great state of Georgia. We'll talk again.
What's exactly great about it from your perspective, Glenn? What is it? What is it? The Waffle Houses, or what's the big selling point for Georgia for you? The number of indoor gun ranges that are poorly ventilated, so everybody gets a good whiff of lead every time they're there, so they get the prefrontal cortex of their brain perforated over the years and become more impulsive and violent as time goes on. Is that it?
Thank you. Keep your head up.
All right.
Keep your head up. Your ass, maybe. That's, oh, God. Keep your head up. Yeah. You're fighting the good fight there, man. It's rough. I don't even know how they do it. It's like he's a hero, man. It's exactly that Loudermilk fella. He's a hero. Okay? You don't know. You don't really know.